Hey boys, hey YouTube, it's October 14th, 2023, and today I'm happy to report that Santa Clara County, California kidnapper and family court judge Seeley Hendrickson has revoked an illegal order and has admitted she's denied me due process. Also behind me, that's a federal civil rights lawsuit that's been filed. Okay, to give you all a quick recap so we're all on the same page, in the summer of 2021, I moved to disqualify Judge Hendrickson for bias. She struck her own disqualification illegally, and I took that issue all the way up to the California Supreme Court. While that issue was pending, Mother went to the family court and got secret court orders from Judge Kuhnle, and then I was arrested for violating those secret court orders. Many of you have seen the Ring doorbell camera video footage of the Nevada Attorney General agents admitting that they had knowledge about California corruption and refusing to investigate. Shortly after that video, I was arrested. On the issue of disqualifications, it's very clear that Santa Clara County, California, and probably every county in California has a pattern and practice of violating the civil procedure and allowing judges to strike their own disqualifications. When I took the issue up on a writ petition to the 6th District Court of Appeals, they summarily denied my petition without explanation. When I then took that up to the Supreme Court for a writ of review, they also denied it without an explanation. They also failed to follow the fee waiver rules. The government code requires that if they're going to deny a fee waiver, they have to explain why, and they refused to do that. So it's apparently the law of the land in California, just due to the judiciary turning a blind eye, that judges can strike their own disqualifications. So after my arrest, Judge Hendrickson was back on my family case. I then moved to vacate void orders for lack of due process and for fraud upon the court. At that hearing on the motion to vacate void orders, Judge Hendrickson once again repeatedly violated my due process rights. She denied my motion. She denied a trial. She participated openly in opposing counsel dirtbag attorney Tristan Ashelman's fraud upon the court and numerous felonies. And then she sua sponte, which means on her own motion, found me to be a vexatious litigant without notice and without opportunity to be heard. For those of you that don't know, once you're labeled a vexatious litigant, you are no longer allowed to file anything with the court unless you get permission from the presiding judge. I immediately filed a notice of appeal on that illegal order, but the problem that I've been having is that the Santa Clara County Superior Court, under 4 judges, have denied me access to my own court file. This has been especially problematic because opposing counsel dirtbag Ashelman has been filing false documents and has also been filing different versions of motions than what he's been serving on me. In fact, the court knows that I moved for contempt against Tristan Ashelman for filing a different version of your motion than he served on me, but of course the court refuses to hear the contempt. So I have asked repeatedly for access to my own court file so that I could build a record for appeal and fight against this behavior, and 4 judges of the Santa Clara County Superior Court, actually 3 judges, but 4 motions, have refused to grant me access to my court file. Those judges would be Judge Hendrickson, Judge Kuhnle, and Judge Blecher. So then I filed a motion with the appellate court asking for an order directing the Superior Court to grant me access to my court file so I could build a record for appeal. And of course, the 6th District Court of Appeals denied that motion under Mary Greenwood because they don't give a lick or a care about due process. Well, apparently this YouTube channel and my other activities are having the intended effect, because yesterday I received in the mail a sua sponte, meaning from her own accord or her own motion, order from Judge Hendrickson revoking the order, labeling me a vexatious litigant, and most importantly, admitting that she has denied me due process. So today I'm going to show you what that order looks like so we can document it for posterity. I'm also going to show you the document that I think triggered this. And finally, I'm going to show you the motion that I filed in the appellate court asking for an order giving me access to my own court file, which was denied. Okay, so let's go through this order together. It was filed October 6, 2023, and mailed to me by the clerk of the court. On the first page, it says the court hereby finds and follows. And she says that on this date, we had a hearing. It was on my motion to vacate void orders and also orders that were obtained through fraud. That's what this reference is here. My motion for Civil Procedure 473B is for fraud on the court, and D is void. Orders can be void for many reasons, including lack of jurisdiction and lack of due process, which is what happens routinely in my case. She also talks about how the opposing party tried to get $5,300 in sanctions against me. At the conclusion of the hearing, the court denied both motions and found me to be a vexatious litigant pursuant to the California Code of Civil Procedure. Important finding right here, number 3, that the court now seeks to provide father with notice and opportunity to be heard on whether he qualifies or does not qualify as a vexatious litigant. Well, Judge Hendrickson, how nice of you to come around a year and a half later. Are you going to come around on the fact that you're enforcing an illegal temporary move away, that you routinely and regularly deny me notice and opportunity to be heard, and that you issue void and illegal and secret orders? Are you going to come around on those? You have a duty under the judicial canon and the Code of Ethics, by the way, Judge Hendrickson, to disqualify yourself from this case. She goes on to say the court hereby makes the additional findings and orders as follows: that the court intends to reconsider its prior ruling, and in the meantime, it's vacating its illegal order and will report that to the Judicial Council. It's inviting me to come back on November 28th to actually have due process on this issue, meaning a hearing. I'm going to request a trial at that hearing on any disputed issue of fact. We'll see if Judge Hendrickson actually grants it, or if her meaning of due process is her typical trial by declaration where no cross-examination is allowed and opposing counsel dirtbag Eshelman is allowed to file multiple things at the last second. We'll see what her meaning of due process is in this context. She's actually putting in deadlines. Those are never followed. Dirtbag Eshelman just files stuff whenever he wants. And then she says court staff will mail this, which they did. So that's the order. Okay, so when Judge Hendrickson issued her illegal order without notice and opportunity to be heard, finding me to be a vexatious litigant, I immediately filed a notice of appeal. Notice of appeal, of course, cost $800. So this is one way that Judge Hendrickson is abusing me. She's creating these multiple instances where I have to pay out money and to the point where I can no longer afford it. They refuse to waive the fees, both at the Superior Court level, the Appellate Court level, and the Supreme Court level. And as I've already mentioned, they refuse to tell me why, which is a violation of the government code. So every time Judge Hendrickson plays her little games, it's $800, not to mention the $1,000 for the court reporter. So this is why I have not gone back to the California judiciary in a year and a half. And this is why federal lawsuits are getting filed. So now I want to show you the letter that I had to write to Appellate Justice Greenwood of the 6th District Court of Appeals in California. When I appealed the illegal order, the clerk of that court wrote me back and said, "Oh, you're a vexatious litigant. You need permission to appeal." So I wrote up this letter and I attached the declaration of facts showing that Judge Hendrickson is a lunatic who is openly participating in professional misconduct and felonies and deprivation of my constitutional rights. So I'm going to show you this letter that I wrote to the justice, also asking her to rule on a motion that she had been sitting on for quite some time, where I had asked her to direct the lower court to grant me access to my court file so I could build a record for appeal. That, of course, as I mentioned already, was denied, but she did grant me access to file an appeal. Of course, the appeal was then terminated because I never filed a record or a brief for appeal, which I couldn't do because I didn't have access to my court record. So here's the letter. I ask her for a ruling on the motion, and I ask her for permission to appeal. Attached to the letter was my objection to void order of vexatious litigant issued without notice or opportunity to be heard, notice of intent to pursue federal civil rights litigation against the California judiciary, judicial misconduct complaint. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down slowly and let you read this if you so desire. And last but not least, I'm going to show you a motion I filed in the 6th District Court of Appeals in California asking for them to vacate their order denying me a fee waiver, or alternatively, to explain to me why they were denying it as they are required to by the government code so that I could have a chance to rebut. This motion was denied in whole. The other part of this motion was asking for an order granting me access to my court file in the Superior Court so I could build a record for appeal. As I mentioned, this was entirely denied. So my appeal was dismissed because I could not file an appellate brief because I didn't have access to my court file. So I'm going to show you this quickly so you can see what these lowlifes are putting me through. Okay, so that's it for tonight. I hope you guys learned something. I want you to see that Judge Seeley Hendrickson of the Santa Clara County, California Superior Court has now admitted that she has denied me due process and has issued orders without notice and opportunity to be heard. I wonder if she's going to address all the other orders that have happened for the last 4 years that have been issued without notice and opportunity to be heard, thus denying me, without a trial and without any accusation as to my fitness, access to my children for 4 years. Boys, I love you. I miss you terribly. I hope I see you soon. YouTube, if you don't know why I'm the father in exile, check the links in the description or the pinned comment.